What is up, metalheads, addicts of the damned? What is going on? It is yet again another All right, if you got a fistful of ones, go ahead and start throwing them now. I'm just playing. It's another Mommy Milkers Monday, and the big bad devil daddy is under the weather, but that is okay. You can't keep me down for long, so I do apologize if my voice is a little under par this Monday, but. Yeah, guys, share it out, share it anywhere, everywhere that there is a Dark Throne lover, metalhead. I don't give a fuck. Please make sure that we get it out there because we're going to be talking about their new album, It Beckons Us All. And especially if you're a fan of Viking lore, there's a lot of that in here. So get ready as we give you our synopsis of this record. And, the one thing that I will say is keep an open mind. I will probably say that a lot, but this album is actually really fucking good, especially if you are a very dark, doomy kind of metal fan. You're really going to like this record. Before we get into it, we're going to take a quick commercial break here to our brother overseas at Poison Valley Clothing. Check that shit out. Allahu Akbar! Hell yeah. So if you are a fan of horror art, as we all are here at Morgrot Entertainment, make sure you check out Poison Valley Clothing for all your custom horror t-shirt designs, especially any of the bands that currently represent Poison Valley Clothing as well. So check them out. I just talked to David recently. He's got some new designs coming up. All different stuff, hoodies, hats, you name it. So get over there on Facebook at Poison Valley. Real quick, let's go ahead and say hello. Mousebong. Ha! Got him!
That's awesome. Love that picture.
Oh, okay. Mousebong shares my problem currently. I'm so sorry to hear that, dear. I know it sucks, but we're going to make it happen. The only bad part was going to dinner yesterday. I kind of looked like I've been snorting about 1 kilo or 2 on my nose. That's just because my skin is sensitive from blowing it. Rebecca, what's going on? Cody, always pleasure to see you, brother. Hopefully the rest of our wonderful addicts will join us here shortly. As we are going to be discussing this whopper of a record. Definitely something that I think you want to put in your playlist, or definitely get the disc or even the vinyl. Actually, this album to me is so vinyl worthy. You're probably going to want to get it on vinyl because I think it'll sound even better. We, of course, are talking about Dark Throne. Now, as you know, we all get our metal news from different sources. But once again, don't listen to some of these idiots that are doing reviews. Now, some people, like the ones that Hoofbeast there watches, seem to have a little bit of a better view on most stuff that is, heavy in a different way or explorative or anything like that. But man, some of these motherfuckers, man, it's just like they just shitting on it just to shit on it, and it gets old. Kyler, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. Mousepong. Fenrizzle and Noctizzle. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and, sorry. Let me hand it over to my brother here, Hoofbeast, to get us kicked off on this awesome fucking record.
Yeah, so this record really takes you back to early 80s heavy metal. But to me, this is the doomiest effort that they have made. And in some ways, the album is simple in that the guitar riffs, the drumming is very kind of simple, easy to do. There's nothing in the guitar that's difficult to do that Nocturno does. Henry's good, simple, tough drumming hits those crashes and kicks throughout. And it's just tasty. It fits perfectly. And it goes right along with Dark Throne. They are not here to try to show off to anybody. They
don't have to.
They are being their fucking self, and they don't give even half a shit what all these fucking assholes who are dogging them out say. And I'm right with them. Now, I watched Questy. He's a guy from England, and he has a good YouTube channel. He's really into funeral doom, so that's he's who got me into Ahab. But he really loves black metal. He especially loves Dark Throne, and especially like Transylvania, like the earlier types of Dark Throne. He's really well versed. He really liked this record a lot. The only thing he doesn't like is the Tom G. Warrior delivery by Nocturno.
Come on. I mean, how could they have not have been fans of Celtic Frost for all these fucking years? Seriously, it's like just because somebody somewhat resembles that vocalist, or they're not trying to rip them off. It's not a deliberate thing. I mean, your voice is your voice, and if that's the way you feel comfortable singing, more power to you. I mean, shit. We all loved Celtic Frost. So, Tom G. Warrior, come on. Super fucking awesome.
Like what I'll say about this is, if we think about the vocalists in doom metal, and especially extreme metal, funeral doom and stuff like that, we have Ahab on one end that is really clean at times, and then really low and guttural at times. If we look at Hooded Menace, it's all death metal, and they're more like death doom, but it's more of a death metal delivery that you could dare say sounds like a lot of others. You could say that in my low gutturals, I sound a lot like many other people in my delivery.
Your influence.
But nobody else, to me, sounds like Tom G. Warrior, like Nocturno, plus Nocturno is more grungy, and he's a little deeper and a little bit more like death metal than Tom G. Warrior ever was. So I have no issues with that. The last big point I want to make about this album harks back to it being on the more kind of simple playability. But this fucking album is super textured. And they speed it up, they slow it down. They never get to blast beats or anything like that, but they have tremolo picking at time, and it's very doomy, like slow doom, and then it is fucking really slow on 2 of the songs, really slow. And me likey. There are 0 songs that are weak on this album. They've experimented with a little bit of like letting kind of chords ring out that are dissonant a little bit in like 2 or 3 of the songs. I've written it down in my notes, but I really appreciate Questy right off the bat used the word avant-garde. And this is what some people are calling psychedelic. It's not fucking psychedelic to me.
They're not the same.
It's a little bit spacey, but it's mysterious. Yes, it's mysterious and atmospheric. So that's my intro. I have a lot of good things to say about this. I really don't have anything bad to say. Is it a 5 out of 5? I don't think so right now, but I think it's a really, really good album. I will listen to this a lot this year. I don't know if it'll make my vinyl list, but it might. But it's a really good album.
For me, I think from typical Dark Throne, this is definitely a step in an awesome direction. And I have always said that the imagery and what a band's typical sound is, no matter how they started. Yeah, I mean they were very black metal, but they haven't lost the elements of their black metal. But this is like what is making black and roll, or even what they call a blackened doom, so much more viable and exciting, because there are so many elements going on in there. To hear them be a little bit atmospheric was fucking fun for me, because it's not just all shred, it's not just all tremolo, it's not just bam, 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 hit you all the way through. It's putting you on this like horror roller coaster all the way through these tunes. Each, you don't know what you're going to get at the next turn. I've said this before, I will say it again. There are so many elements to me from early Merciful Fate, those first 2 records, some of the way that these riffs are done. And then they throw that little tremolo on the end of a riff, and I'm just like, holy shit, what a way to get to the next bar. And that's where you're getting your black metal shot. Personally, I absolutely love his voice, whether it's clean or it's the gravel pit, because they have a really good marriage between the two. The only negative thing I'm going to say, and I know I'm that drummer, that flat fucking snare drum sound drives me nuts. I think, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. There still can be a good earthy tone, but still get just enough crack to make you feel it in your spine. That's just me. And people act like, and this is what I hate about other reviewers, like these bigger people, that's all they do. It's like bands have been around, 10, 20, 30 years. They can be as creative as they want to, in my opinion. And, there are not just this band, but there are other staple black metal bands that are doing a bit of a doomier, almost like a Black and Doom kind of thing. It's like, I feel like they're getting back to their roots. But the moment you compare this record to Metallica's 72 Seasons, you make me want to jump down your throat and fucking pull your intestines out through your throat. I don't care if I get canceled on Facebook for saying that. That's just how I feel. This band is just a motherfucking Megatron. I love them. And I love that they keep upping the ante. As a matter of fact, Kyler says, I have to ask, if a band doesn't evolve, is it really a metal band? In my opinion, no, because you got to stay fresh. You know, you got to do, I mean, especially as long as these guys have been around, there's nothing wrong with like getting back to roots, as Mousebong said here a little bit, a couple of steps back. She says, from the start, the record is hearkening back to that early 80s sound. Yeah, we all appreciate that because, God damn it, we're still playing our old records from back then. There's a reason. There was a magic to it. And with this black and roll thing that I never really knew existed, but I'm really starting to dig it a hell of a lot more. And, you know, ever since I came across the Coffin Storm, go figure, it's really made me a fan. And I can see its relevancy with Doom, with multiple tempo changes, and kind of adding that Doom guitar tone. And the only thing that I noticed was for the first two songs on this, I don't know if this was intentional, but the guitar tone changes by the third track and then stays that way all the way through the rest of the record. So that might have been deliberate. I just thought it was a little bit weaker in the beginning. That's the only thing I'm going to say. But still super enjoyable. And we can't wait to go through these tracks with you guys. Yes, Mousebong, all the fucking way. Fuck Metallica. She says, oh my God, OMG, I agree, Reaper. I hate the snare sound on this. It sounds like it's padded with a pillow. Yeah, you know, it's the equivalent to taking, like we used to do in the old days, where you take a bunch of paper towel, fold it up into a square, take a piece of duct tape, snap that motherfucker to the top, and you would get this like thud sound. We don't do that anymore. And one last comment here. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say my opinion on the snare is that it doesn't really bother me, but I don't prefer it. Like I don't have a huge problem but I'm more of a guitar guy, and so like for me, like the amount of variety in every song, the tempo changes, it's like a soup. And sometimes people screw up by they make a bad soup. They put too many things. Let me admit to a bad soup I made for my poor daughter in Portland. She's 29 now. She was, I think, 8 or 9 years old. Mom was gone, and I had to make dinner that night. And so I made, it was canned vegetable soup with macaroni and cheese.
Ooh.
And then I put butter rice-a-roni in it. And then I added veggie dogs that were cut up. That was a terrible combo. She's never let me live that down. The poor thing was so sweet. But the analogy I'm trying to make is one thing that I think Darkthrone is masterful with on this album is there's so much variety. They're twisting and turning and taking you different ways. And it fucking, to me, it fits seamlessly. It has the same character throughout, but they give you enough variety so that the gum doesn't go stale after 2 minutes. That gum stays with flavor the whole fucking time through, in my opinion.
Yes, absolutely. Cody says, evolving and being creative is what metal is about. If everyone did the same old shit, it would die quickly. Agreed. Unless you're Slipknot. Totally fuck it up.
I've got a comment to that because I will give you guys 2 examples to me that really haven't evolved much, and that is Cannibal Corpse, fucking amazing, and Marduk, fucking amazing. On their tail a little bit with Victor or Victoria, that album in 2016. That one wasn't in character, but like they really haven't tried to experiment a whole lot. but every fucking album that comes out, I know it's going to be really, really good. Or almost.
Well, and that's kind of the nice thing, and the testament to them is that even though they're just staying true to their style, it's still new and exciting. It doesn't sound like throwback. Mousebong says, "Ha ha ha! Sounds like an interesting dish." Arcane says, "Honestly, yeah, Dark Throne's new album really is a fresh new experience." And I think that's what this is fucking all about, man. When you're rooted in darkness, there are so many different tasty ways you can take it and still be heavy at the same time. All right, let's go ahead and hit this opening track, man. Hallowing Primitive Colonies.
Can I give a double birds first to that asshat that compared this to Metallica's 72 Seasons? Fucking fuck you. Fuck both of these. Take both of my fists, then take my elbow and my whole forearm sideways and shove it straight up your ass. That's fucking bullshit, because this is a dark album. There's no darkness in fucking Metallica. There has not been true darkness in years and years and years. There's been no edge. This is a grungy, sappy, filthy, grimy, dark experience. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever. Yep, Arcane. This Asset Reaper will tell you about. He's the one that read that one. I haven't read this one.
Oh yes. He's quickly becoming my new JD from a couple years back. One of my most hated writers of metal reviews. This guy is like, he's almost there. And the only darkness that Metallica could possibly muster is the gaping hole in Lars's ass. So we're talking about Hallowing Primitive. I fucking the Hallowing Primitive Colonies. Great opening track. The tom work is electric. I really enjoy those little breaks where the guitar is riffing and the drummer is just doing some really good tom work under that, setting you up for a killer verse. The dissonant atmospheric guitar that's being laid over is really tasty. Like I said, the tone itself seems like it was maybe turned down a little bit or just a little bit back in the fray. Maybe that's why I don't feel like it's as powerful as we get past the second track. But I dig it. I dig the rhythm changes. Solid fucking opening song for me, brother.
Yeah, I agree. It has a real spacey intro. It's super slow. It gets really there's a really chunky beginning when the guitars come in. It's real chunky, and then it's Tom G. Warrior barking grunts with nocturnos, darker, more full sound. But I love Celtic Frost. I always have. I'm right with Fenriz. Fenriz and Nocturnal, love them. I can't help get away from that. But
yes,
they've put their own taste and they've upgraded Tom G. Warrior. Like, if you guys haven't listened to Celtic Frost that much, or Triptychon is amazeballs. I fucking love them. That's who he decided
these days.
Yeah, that's who he decided to make a band for after Celtic Frost. And oh my gosh, one of their albums has made my vinyl list that I will portray up on the walls. Hopefully, when I move in about 2 weeks. But this song's really good, and yes, there's this slow ringing power chord that is dissonant, and the tone is different. I think, well, they don't really play live, so he may not even have a preset on like a stomp that he could just hit, and where he has everything kind of geared to have that tone and to take the gain down a bit, but still have enough mids to kind of drive through and hold that ringing out sustain. But it starts out similar. What's that?
I feel like it's appropriate though. It fits really, really well, layering wise. But I mean, even with that crazy little sound in the beginning of the song in the intro, I just absolutely dug it. Oh, hey, what's up, Johnny? Good to see you, brother. Appreciate that shit. He says, I just want to take the time to thank you both for your amazing shows. Well, hey, we appreciate you, brother, for, constantly viewing and partaking. Hopefully we'll open your eyes to this record, because I think this one's right up your alley, to be quite honest. Johnny's like a really big old like 80s metal fan, as well as a lot of punk and stuff like that. This is in your wheelhouse. If you haven't gotten down to Dark Throne, especially this record, I think you would dig it. It's really cool. It's got really good old flavor. But I love how everything is clean on this record as well. You hear everything pretty well. Even the bass. I mean, it's not super in your face on this track, but you can hear it clearly. And I dig it.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because there are some tracks where I'm really reaching to hear the bass, and then some it's clanky and I can hear it. Yeah, that is one of my criticisms of the album. Like, I would have brought the bass up, even on the ones where it's pretty prominent. I would have brought it up even more, because it'll fill out that sound even more.
Oh, absolutely, Johnny. Especially if you have Spotify, just look up Dark Throne. But I'll send you something. No worries.
Hey, I will be right back. I got to go get my charger. I'll be right back. My computer's back to die. So
no worries. No worries. I'm gonna start on the second track, Aeon 3. I don't know what people think when they hear or read a track title such as that. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking this is going to be a little spacey. And who the hell doesn't like that? I mean, all the motherfucking Pink Floyd lovers out there have gotten down to the Floyd in the past and shit that's very spacey, kind of out there. And I feel like this track gives us a little bit of that spacey feeling. But at the same token, after it kicks in,
Sleep Token?
No. We're just gonna ban motherfucking name of Sleep Token from this show. It is not allowed. This is a safe space for everyone. You will not be bombarded with that trash. But as it kicks in, like I said, again, the drummer is bringing a fucking awesome tom fills. I cannot stress this enough. I love what he's doing there. It's not typical, and it reminds me a lot of Nico fucking McBrain. And don't anybody out there tell me that doesn't make you think of some of those legendary tom fills that Nico was real famous for. He's not afraid to move around the kit. Even in a stoner or black and roll setting, you still can pull off some really cool rhythms. And I like the way he does that and how it flows with Nocturno's guitar riffing. And then again, kicks right in. It's got that straightforward tap, 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 which is, in this type of music, it's very important, and I see why, because it drives. And one of the things I really dug about this second track is the little gallop, 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 tremolo, 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 gallop, 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 tremolo, tremolo. I mean, that shit just makes me want to get up and give somebody a forearm to the face. I love that shit. Again, a little bit of Iron Maiden for some of y'all, because that's where the gallop really came from. And I don't know, solid fucking track. The guitar still a little bit back in the fray. I would have liked it to be a little bit more prominent in the mix, but otherwise, I fucking love the track.
Yeah, the first word I wrote for this track, Aeon 3 was galloping, fun, heavy metal with 8 single notes for the riff. They're I counted them, 8 single notes for the riff, very catchy, and then they have a little bit of tremolo. They trail it off with some tremolo picking, which kind of harkens back to the black metal.
Oh my God. Cody says, one last time, Sleep Token and DJs. And then we'll lay it to rest, hopefully. Unless you want to get Hoof Beast on a tangent, then you can bring it up.
I'm very distractible. Like for this. So I wanted to Mouse Bong. I'm ready to tattoo you sometime. This is what I drew up. I did a neck drawing the other day or yesterday.
Yeah.
And this was the tattoo I did. Neck. It's a really nice devil lady. Okay, that's my sidetrack for now.
No worries.
It's really galloping in the beginning. It's fun heavy metal with 8 single notes and then tremolo picking. It has some spoken vocals in there that I like. But at the 239, 240 section, it gets slow and doomy with chugging. And then Fenriz is kind of, I call it silly. It's silly kind of power metal vocals. He brings this in a couple times in the album, which this is what is the prominent thing in Coffin Storm.
Yep.
But I'm kind of glad he brought that in, because all kinds of second wave black metal use this kind of power metal war kind of chanting. And then toward the end of this song gets really fucking slow and me likey, very tasty.
And I think it's super deserved, because while you were getting your charger, I was telling everybody that with a title such as Aeon 3 or Eon 3, it almost kind of gives you this spacey kind of idea. So musically, going into that direction, and I cited Pink Floyd as a prime example of this, that it was so appropriate, even though it had a good, fun metal vibe all the way through. But damn it, when you drop the bottom out like that, it just brings a whole new dimension that's like, oh, it's that release that we were looking for. It doesn't have to be super fucking fast. That's why they did it slow. So I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful friend here, known as the Angry Metal Head, because I believe he had something to say, a little too much to say, actually. Let me double check here. Here we go. Yep. So it should be my third one. Hopefully this is the right one. Let's get him up here since he's a fucking chode. Yeah. While Colto refuses to sing on this album, Fenriz cleans on Aeon 3 are buried in the back and completely encapsulated in effects. And though the heavy hand has an engaging, haunting attitude, it spends 4 minutes going nowhere. Holy crap. And just to let you guys know, here's the first reference to Metallica. He says, it's one of the more surprising pieces because it opens with reverberating clean guitars that feel like it's about to morph into a Metallica ballad. A Metallica ballad Morgrat universe. You'll see, if you haven't gotten all the way through the record yet, that you'll know which song he's talking about, because they did something different and it was fucking brilliant. We'll get to that later, though. In my opinion, it was very, very brilliant. Oh, shit, we got all kinds of stuff here. Mousebong says, for Eon, I wrote kinda dinky sounding until about halfway. That's hilarious. Johnny says, I turned a guy onto Therion at my free comic book day event. Hey, right on. I remember we talked a little bit about them a while ago. Mousebong. She says, that is a chode take. I loved Heavy Hand. You see what I mean? This guy is an idiot. I think he's stuck in one dimension, which is really strange because a lot of his reviews on like 80s sounding bands are usually pretty good, but he just didn't, I don't know. He said out of all the Dark Throne reviews that he's done over the years, this was his most disappointing. If you can imagine that. All right. Take us into the bombastic Black Dawn affiliation, because this song is just bad fucking ass.
This one has the most plays on Spotify for them right now. And
I can see.
Or for the new album. I think Transylvania Hunger has more than that. But, this song has tremolo bending. It's a bit more up-tempo. It's a mid-tempo, but a little bit of a faster mid-tempo. It has harmonizing guitars in there every now and then that I like quite a bit. And like, this is where chode take yet.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn that into a button, so you got it.
But this is the song, like, going through it when I actually had to write things down. Or I wrote, this is where I was like, wow, this song really has it. It has good energy, good tempo throughout, and it's loaded with different textures. That's where, to me, the different textures, i.e. the tempo changes, the different guitar tone changes. There's so many flavors in this. So damn, this is a really good song. It's one of my favorites on there. I don't know if I have a favorite because I have so many that I like for different reasons. Like
yeah.
The Aeon 3, I like. No. The first one I like because of the slow ringing dissonant tone. I fucking love that. And I hadn't really heard them do that before.
They've really realized the importance and the relevancy of doing a dissonant move like that, because it adds a eerie fucking feeling to a track. And we talk about those multiple levels of heavy. It's not necessarily in speed, it's in how it's delivered, the tone, especially when it comes to guitars. Because I know I'm a drummer, I know I am all everything percussion, but at the same token, I have the ability to recognize different styles of riffing and why they're important and how it can just make a song that much better. With obviously this is the standout track because it's power personified. And this is my point. The guitar riff, the tone in this song puts it right out in front of your face and you're getting hammered. Mm-hmm. Not by your favorite liquor, but by the fucking riff. Mm-hmm. And it's so chunky. Oh, I absolutely love it. I was just like, holy crap, All right, let's move on through.
Next up is an instrumental. So
Oh man, yeah.
And in that moment, I knew the answer. Like,
This
to me,
one didn't lyrics at all.
Yeah, I love that title. It really brings out my curiosity. Reaper needs to be topped off. It really brings out my curiosity. So this instrumental track is doomy and, dare I say, dreamy, atmospheric. And then it's odd. It has really odd kind of single notes in it. It's not like super, super odd, like maybe Ulcerate or some of these other kind of avant-garde bands that we're listening to that are super dissonant. It's not like that, but it really is odd and weird. This is the first song where I felt like they were being really avant-garde. Now, in the intro at the very beginning of Howling Primitive Colonies, the first track, they kind of do that. But this is a very catchy instrumental as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of people go by hooks, and this one definitely brings a hook that just kind of draws you in, and it's unrelenting. Again, this takes me back to Merciful Fate, Melissa, the guitar work on that record, because it's like it zigzags, takes you into another part that turns into another part, but it's flawless, and I really got to commend them on that. Let's see, we got some stuff here. So Johnny says, definitely been tweaking my unique guitar sound for years, trying to get it just right, but some of my songs require some of my specific guitars to achieve that feel for that particular track. Well, when you have an idea and what you want to do with it, you gotta go with what you gotta go with. Mousebong says, I found and in that moment to have a very cool, dark rock and roll vibe. Yes, doom and roll. She gets it. Absolutely. That's what's so cool about it. That's what I was telling you. It's like multiple dimensions in one song, and that's why everybody loves it.
Except for some of the assholes who've been reviewing the album. I almost wonder, can they not get their heads stuck out of Darkthrone's first few albums where they were, the pre-emerging second wave, and then they were solidly, like Panzerfaust, really second wave black metal, wonderful albums. Let them fucking evolve. Who right now is hearkening back to early 80s metal to where we can relate? We can say, yeah, that sounds like that. It reminds me of them, Merciful Fate, Celtic Frost, Hellhammer, Bathory. But there's still Darkthrone. They have done it in a way that it even kind of modernized it. It's like so thick and chunky. It's way more thick and chunky and layered than anything that was done in the 80s. To me, old Merciful Fate was super clean and a little bit more progressive, in the vein of kind of King Diamond's progressive feel for the riffage. This is just, it feels like early 80s, but it's like the king of early 80s to me.
You know what I mean? See, you see it. You see it like I see. I mean, I hear it. I can envision it. I even heard a little bit of that baritone voice in, a couple of these songs too. I mean, you got to remember, King influenced so many people, but at the same token, Venom too. Mm-hmm. I can hear a lot of Venom in this, and they were pretty much like the first black and roll band, So I don't know. That's that there's so many different arguments when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, let's let's move on to the next. Now this one, I don't know. I absolutely think it's doomy genius. And we're talking about the bird people of Nordland.
And here is the bird people of Nordland. I don't know if you can see it real well, but it's this insect-like, and this theme is throughout the CD. There's other drawings of this kind of alien, kind of bird person, bug person. It's really creepy. It's real edgy. It reminds me of this fucking album, big time, big time. Like it's dirty.
Down. So sorry. Just so you know, folks, I'm doing this out of a hotel at the moment, so bear with me. I promise next time Baphomet won't fall down. I
think the ghost of Jesus must be in your room. Did you invite Jesus to your room?
I threw it out the window. No, it's all good. But, oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so Arcane says, dun dun dun, the bird people. I mean, come on, man. That is very indicative of Norse culture. Why? Because there were many different tribes, if you will, that certain warriors would dress up as different animals and kind of like embody those spirits to try to, scare their enemy, surprise them, whatever you want to call it. So depicting this in such a dark way, I think the song captures the title.
Yeah, it's really slow and sludgy in the beginning, super slow. And then it picks up. That just because there's so much variety in this album, it picks up. It's one of the more faster paced songs at times. It has really good tremolo picking in it. It has a dreamy solo, which is unusual for
definitely typical for them. Yeah,
doesn't do solos very often, but it has a very dreamy, atmospheric solo, and I really like it a lot. It's, to me, that solo goes with this idea of the bird people. And to me, this song also is more driving. It's about as driving as Black Dawn Affiliation. That's another one that's pretty driving.
Absolutely. I think it's literally just as strong. But for whatever reason, some of the critics, if you will, didn't really care for this song. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and pull up, I think this might be the one. Nope. Hold on. And maybe it's...
That's the one that talks about the lost pines of the lone pines of the lost planet.
My bad. Unfortunately, I didn't snag the one for this one. I had it, but I guess it didn't upload. But he just kind of trashed it, and I don't understand why. Because it's just as strong as the top most played track, like you said, Black Dawn Affiliation, because they're the really big drivers of this record. But now we're going to talk about one of my all-time favorite tracks off this record, and I think both these shares my addiction to this one, and it is a doomy piece of awesome known as The Heavy Hand.
It makes me wonder if a lot of these reviewers, like I alluded to in the past, just expect them to be black metal, and their panties are in a wad because they don't do black metal anymore. They're heavy metal now. They're heavy metal and very doomy now. They really are like doom roll. Doom
You
and
know,
roll.
yeah, it is totally doom and roll in my opinion. So, I mean, who cares that they shed the ferocity to do something else that they are very creatively influenced by? It would be one thing. Okay, let's put it like this. Let's say they were super great at black metal, which they were. Hello. But if they switched to this and it sucked, okay, then maybe they shouldn't do that. But the fact that with this record doesn't suck at all, in my opinion. Maybe there's stronger tracks than others, but other than that, I think they did a fantastic job. So fuck those guys. Mm-mm. Oh my goodness, this is hilarious. So Mouse Bong says, Bird People is another fun and interesting track. Love the Vox on that one. And it's also kind of danceable. I would love to see what dance would go with that song, as I'm sure Hoofbeast is wondering right now. I'm just playing. I'm convinced that guy didn't really listen to the record. And honestly, though, I think in some cases, some of these reviewers listen to about, let's say, 60 seconds of a song and have their opinion.
I think there's also a prejudice against doom in extreme metal quite a bit. I really do feel that there is. And like for me, of course, there's no guitar wankery in this, but it's loaded with artistry. It's loaded with artistry throughout the whole fucking album. There's no guitar wankery though. And some people want guitar wankery. To me, like Cannibal Corpse, I love their riffing, but that's a hard listen. Like I have to listen intently because it's so fast and the changes are so fast. I really cannot be doing something else to really appreciate it because it sounds a little bit more on the noise side for me. But this is fucking catchy throughout. Fucking The Heavy Hand is super doomy, and it's the most slow song that they have. It's slow.
It's fun. Here. To me, it's fun, you know? Yeah. And it adds that second layer of heaviness in the fact that it is slow, it is chuggalicious, it's dark as hell, and the lyrics itself, it's a struggle. The heavy hand. It says the heavy hand wears the heavy crown. That's what the song's about. It's like what it's like to be probably a chieftain in a tribe in Norway at that time of the Vikings. Come on. Do you know how much that had to suck? It's true. Everything I've ever read, man. You want to talk about stress. Everybody thinks they have stress. Imagine living amongst Vikings, like the real deal, not just the wannabes that want to look like Vikings. Could you imagine every day living in not necessarily fear, but having to be ready at any moment to go? And I mean throw down, especially if you're the one leading them.
It's kind of like, social media is at our hands all day long. We have access to all kinds of people pretending. There's so many pretend tough guys, and there's one in our country who does nothing but pretend that he's really tough. He has a really little mouth, but it's really noisy, and he uses it all of the time. And I don't think that guy's ever been in a fist fight. He's never.
I think I know.
He's never done anything fucking tough in his whole life, and he's not the only one. There's a whole bunch that just pretend that they're fucking tough. Like I went to Ranger School over 30 years ago. That was fucking hard. And it teaches you something. If you get in a long fist fight, or you're doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu and you got to roll for an hour with people, that's fucking tough. You want to fucking quit all the fucking time. And if you don't quit, then you're fucking tough. And to me, to live back in those Nordic times in Norway, fucking cold, and to where you had to rule with the heavy hand. You had to fucking walk the walk. It's kind of like being in a wolf pack. As soon as the alpha shows weakness, they're fucking down.
They're looking for a way to dethrone that motherfucker. And I think this song encompasses what that feels like, because there's always somebody, and we know folks around us all the time talking shit behind our back, and being the leader of a tribe. Holy shit balls. Could you honestly imagine what that was like if a coup formed and wanted to take your ass out? It's like, what would you do? So I feel it in the riff. Arcane says, yeah, imagine just one day while farming, a whole gang of Vikings show up from like 5 ships with axes, shields, torches, ready to burn it all down and go to town. Exactly right. You know what I'm saying? Mousebong says, if I were in the Viking Age, I'd become a leader by finding all the men that had a domination kink and making them my minions and soldiers. I knew you were going to take that into the dimension. That was hilarious. I absolutely love that.
Mousebong is fucking awesome. Where the hell is Babylon's son?
Dude, his kids might have a thing on Monday nights. That's what he had told me in a text. That and his drum lesson is on Monday nights. Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything wrong with that, because I am a fan of people that study their craft. So Arcane says, yeah, people don't realize how long a 5-minute fight is. 5 minutes can feel like 30 minutes when you're fighting like hell. It's hard to fight a real 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Absolutely. I mean, okay, when I was doing collegiate wrestling, and I mean real wrestling, not WWE, put them over for a suplex. I'm talking about grapplers, where every second counted to keep your shoulder from going down to the mat. You didn't have to have both shoulders down. You just had to have one. And you are trying to push up on some dude that is on you, trying to push your shoulder to the mat. Man, it is exhausting. And I did that shit for a long time when I was in school. So I don't think not even 30% of America to today could do that. Let's be real.
Wrestling is no joke. Being on the football team of a good football team, and you got to do Miami's at the end of fucking practice.
Oh, man.
Like that shit that makes you want to quit. And there's so many fucking wimps these days that project how tough and manly they are. But if you really know them and you look at their fucking lives, they're not fucking tough at all. They're fucking weak. They just project bullshit, and they get dumb fucking people to believe them.
Right. That's why I always say, what is the use of having all those muscles if you can't use your strength? Strength doesn't come from muscle. It comes from heart. And that is the Viking way. And I feel, this whole record is like projecting that, like the heart of those people. I mean, that's where they come from. That's where they were born. And I love the fact that they're going back to roots. And that's why I love the final track as we get ready to close for this evening, The Lone Pines of the Lost Planet. And I can't understand why this asshole didn't like it. I'll let you go ahead and kick us off with these.
Yeah, so it starts off with an acoustic guitar playing, and it's really, really different from them. Thank you. Give us something different to chew on. Thank you. There's nothing wrong with that. It's still heavy, filthy, and dark. It's just not fast.
So
And it
many
doesn't
dimensions to
no
this track.
anymore. But then the riffs kick in, and this song is approaching 10 minutes, which is another thing that Dark Throne doesn't do. But part of the reason why it takes the Human the Hoofbeast songs is because it gets into funeral doom territory. It gets super fucking slow, and that eats up time because you still have to play the riffs, and the riffs might have 8 different power chords on there, or 8 different single notes that you're holding on to and letting ring out. So this song is long. It's beautiful. I totally appreciate it. I'm glad it's the last song on the album because it closes it out. And as I've said about so many other albums, this like many other Doom albums are great with the Devil's Lettuce. So if you like it without the Devil's Lettuce, like I do, and then you try it on with the Devil's Lettuce and bourbon, then it's even better. You really don't need any substance to kind of help you with this. Great album to me. Great album to me. And to me, I would give this at least a 3.5 out of 5 stars, probably a 4 out of 5 stars. I just need to listen to it like for about a month before I kind of know where it's going to go. Right now, this album will make my top 10 albums for the end of the year.
So there's been a fantastic conversation going on between Arcane and Mousebong. So let's cue in real quick before I give my final synopsis. Arcane says, especially when most people nowadays don't even have the confidence to fight fair anyways. Nowadays, you just try to fist fight. You're dead anyways from the start. And then Mousebong says, I don't like Viking metal, the subgenre, but I enjoyed this record that is Viking themed. And then Arcane says, so Mousebong, how do you feel about pirate metal?
Oh boy, where is this headed?
And then Mousebong says, away from me. She says I can't stand that shanty Heidi ho shit. I absolutely love this. Oh, come on. Don't you like a good sea shanty while you're rob some booty with your blunderbuss and cutlass? What the fuck? And she's dying. That's all I know. Hilarious. I absolutely love the fact that you guys had that conversation because I'm not a pirate metal fan. I don't think metal and shanties go very well together. I would rather hear it in its traditional way, and that's fine. Like, I'm a huge Pirate of the Caribbean fan. I'm sure you probably didn't know that. But I do love those films, and I liked it in its traditional way. It meant more. Metal-wise, it just sounds stupid.
Yeah, it's got a heavy Velveeta feel. Like, this is why there's a lot of power metal that I don't like, because it has that same feel to me. I don't like that cheesy Heidi How shit.
Well, it comes off as pretentious. They're pretending to be, and half the time they don't even fucking come from there. So what does that tell you? Right? It's a gimmick, and people fall for it, and that's fine. Oh, Cody, this is hilarious. He says, "Hey, you're a fucking wanker," is now stuck in my head, and now everyone is dying. Okay. I know. She says if people start rowing in the pit, I'm out of there. I understand that, but what I thought was kind of cool about that, just hear me out. You have to remember that the band, God damn it. Thank you. Amon Amarth are true fucking Vikings from the core. It's in their blood. And the fact that fans were kind of showing respect in that way, I thought was kind of cool. Like the band was one with their fans. That's what I thought was cool about that. Some people will probably say, oh, that's some pussy shit, all that, whatever. But the fact that it's more than just culture, it's belief, it's their heritage. So I just kind of thought that it was cool that fans would even think to do that. They were serious about it. I just thought that was cool. Instead of kicking somebody in, I just read earlier, you can even ask my wife, I just read earlier that somebody, a fan, was at a pop punk concert and the asshole vocalist jumped off stage and caused him a spinal injury. This kid's never going to walk again. So I'll take a crowd rowing over some dude jumping off the stage and like disabling a fan. You know what I mean? And that isn't even that heavy of music. That shit's crazy to me.
I'm with Mousebong. I'm with Mousebong on the rowing. It really disappointed me to see that, but I really like Amon Amarth, but I want Amon Amarth to only play Twilight of the Thunder Gods and all the albums that came before that. After that, they're so recycled and a bit boring to me now, and I just don't care for them all that much. But I've never seen them, so I want to see them. But I'm waiting for them to play the older shit, not the newer stuff. Newer stuff's a little flat.
As far as I know, they still do. They still play those songs. You have to remember, Amon Amarth has been around longer than most people realize. These guys are much older, and in a way, there is a metal renaissance going on creatively, like the bands that have influenced them. They made a big mistake. They took a Viking drinking song and turned it into a metal song, which is Heidrun. And when people heard that song, they were like, what the fuck is this? This isn't heavy. What are we talking about here? That's why I say pirate metal, doing shanties in the metal form doesn't work. Same thing with a Viking sing-along. You don't put it into metal. If you want to talk about the sagas, if you want to talk about, overthrowing some distant land, go for it. But man, don't put it to metal. Leave that in the fucking mead halls, okay? I told you once, I'll tell you again. They made a serious mistake with that song. Some people dug it, some people didn't. Personally, I thought it was a mistake because they kind of checked their heaviness at the door with that tune. It happens sometimes, But with this record, and with the last tune, I thought it was absolutely 10 minutes of brilliance. Now, I think you had seen this before. I had it. Let me see if this is the one that talks about it. Is this the one? Ah, crap. Hold on. It might be the last one. Oh, here we go. So our little buddy, he's not a buddy, by the way. The Angry Metal guy says the 10-minute closer, the Lone Pines of the Lost Planet provides other interesting guitar movements, specifically the midsection harmonizing work, which also continues to evolve as it goes. It's one of the more surprising pieces. It opens up with reverberating clean guitars again, that sounds like a Metallica ballad. It fails because it has so many worthless sections that drag it out unnecessarily. Plus, I swear to God, Cautel says, sucking on hydrothermic chimneys. I don't think that's what he meant, but at least it contributes something to the album, unlike the absolutely worthless instrumental. And in that moment, I knew the answer. That is abysmal. How can you say that? That it just drags on. There's nothing about this track. If there's one thing you guys take away from this review, that last track doesn't drag on aimlessly. Every part has a specific feeling to it. And, you know, there are so many bands that we have talked about that have, you know, such as Human the Hoofbeast, 12-minute long songs where you are taken on a ride and there's something new at every turn. I thought it was brilliant to end with this piece. I really do. It's one of my most favorite tracks on the record. Again, okay, I will say, not exactly a 5 out of 5, but I am going to give it a solid 4. That is my vote.
Not going to argue with that. Good album, and I think this is one that will mature with time. I'm going to like it more, listening to it a little bit more, because it's really layered. Simple but layered. Simple but tasty.
You know, I don't know. It's really kind of a testament to everyone thinking that heavy music has to be so technical. I mean, there are literally hundreds of bands. If technical is your thing, go listen to it. Okay? For those of you that are not tech fiends, as I like to call them, there's nothing wrong with that. You guys can love all the technical bands you like. I even have some favorites too, but damn it, sometimes I want to pop a CD or yeah, I'm showing my age again, or Spotify for all you Spotify people out there in the Morgrot universe. I want to put something on that I can just kind of groove to, chill to, or just be like, man, this is just a fun record. And I don't want to have to grab into the 80s, 90s realm to get it. This record, I'm going to grab because I think it's badass. It's going to go on my shop playlist, and it's just a really cool album that I think that if people didn't like Dark Throne before, especially Doom people, you're going to love this record even more because it has those elements that Doom lovers love. So give it a shot. Definitely don't listen to the reviewer.
I want to piggyback on your points. I don't know if people can read. It's right in front of my middle finger, but it says no metronome since 1997. And that really is their character. I don't think you can read it. No metronome since 1997. They don't give a fuck about perfection and being perfectly clean. These are like the kings of dirty, grimy darkness.
You know, let's talk about that for a second. That was the attitude that Motorhead had from the very beginning. We don't care. This is what we like. This is what we do, and we're not going to change ourselves for any reason whatsoever. So, like I said before, if you're not a Dark Throne fan, you might want to check this record out. Whether you're a black metal fan, a doom metal fan, or an 80s kind of a fan of metal, this album encompasses all of that. It has attitude. It has, like Hoofbeast has said many times, multiple layers, and you can really kind of like coexist with this record in a fun way. And let's face it, when you have everybody out there, you got your Sleep Tokens trying to do, a fad that this is how I sell my music. These guys are not doing that. And let's bring the dirtiness back to metal. I think that's exactly what metal needs. Attitude. That's what it was about from the very beginning, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't necessarily have to take our word for this, guys out there in the Morgott universe. But if you do take one thing away from this, give it a shot. See how it sits with you. You just might like it. Dark Throne is definitely time-tested. They're fantastic musicians, and they bring something different to the table. Thank you guys so much for joining us on, well, I got a thunderstorm with lightning going on outside. It's fantastic. On this abysmal Monday evening, it was definitely cool to have you guys definitely tuning in and choosing us for your Monday night entertainment. Always, you guys out there in the crowd, you make it so much fun for us. Mm-hmm. Because without you guys, there's no us. It's just two assholes talking about a band that we dig. Yabelka, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. I did not realize you were with us. Hello. She says she has the Florida heat. Well, here it's a little bit cold. I'm not sure about Hoofbeast at the moment, but yeah. I appreciate you. And we had a new viewer also tune in this evening. Hello, Crystal. She says, it just depends what I'm doing. If I want something deep, dark, and long versus quick and crazy. Musically, of course. I love that. That is fantastic. If I'm like really pissed off or in a dark place, I'm probably not going to listen to this album. I have super heavy extreme metal albums that I will probably go to. So I feel that comment very, very much so. But, definitely go ahead.
I think Crystal would be a great playmate for Mousebong on these shows. So if you want to interact with Arcane and Mousebong, watch the program through YouTube, because that's what they always watch it through YouTube. So if you want to see their comments and jump on and join the fun, go YouTube. But make sure Reaper sees all your comments. Don't hesitate to comment. If Reaper likes your comment, he's bringing it on, and we're going to discuss it. And he can't like everything. Sometimes there's a whole lot of them.
I do my best to keep up. And like I said, you guys make it so much fun. We love your input. And, don't be afraid to tell us we're crazy, because let's face it. Did you look at me recently? I'm pretty crazy. So definitely stay tuned this week, because we got a great Reapers Underground this Thursday with myself and two of the cast members of two killer movies coming out very, very soon. Crack Coon and what the hell is that? I'm so sorry. Killer Summer Camp Part 2. So if you guys are fans of those indie horror films, they're about to drop. And I got 2 of the best cast members showing up for that. So check us out on Thursday. We're not going to have the goddamn program this weekend. So stay tuned for that. I think we're going to do it the following week. So I don't know. I'll try to see if maybe we can fit something extra in this weekend. But it'll definitely be back next week. Totally love and appreciate you all. You guys make it so enjoyable. And hopefully, you know, we've given you guys some knowledge and a reason to check out this record. It is Dark Throne. It beckons us all, and it's definitely a fantastic effort. So if you guys are getting ready to, you know, go to work tomorrow, such as ourselves, and you want to give the boss the finger, you must always remember to stay heavy.